Hey guys, this is Flash coming at you with a special/emergency severe weather update video. Got a lot to talk about, but very little time. Just woke up having technical issues, so I can't get in the camera shot since the LCD needs to be tilted back in order for the screen not to black out. Okay, cutting straight to it. SBC upgraded their convective outlook for day one. Middle Tennessee's been upgraded to a level 3 out of 5 for enhanced risk. You can see it on the map here. We got a moderate risk that's introduced for southwest/south central Middle Tennessee. So we are not quite in the bullseye, but we're pretty close to it. And just for context, moderate risks are hardly issued as much. Well, they're not issued as often as they used to be back when SPC would operate under 3 severe weather criteria zones, which were slight, moderate, and high. Now it's marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, and high. So you rarely see a threat go beyond enhanced, but today we got a level 4 out of 5. So, and this is partly why the tornado threat is going to be fairly decent for those moderate risk people, folks. Pretty much that higher tornado threat corresponds to the moderate risk. For Nashville, 10% chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a given point. That hatched area, which you see the black dashed lines, that means that there's a 10% chance that of the 10% chance of tornadoes we see, there's a 10% chance that tornado could be an EF2 or greater. So 10 times 10, about a 1% chance that there's a really strong, severe level tornado within 25 miles of a given point today. So you have to pay attention to the risk. It may sound small, but we're talking about some major non-zero odds. We'll just call it that. The main issue besides flooding is going to be the number one threat today, but severe straight line damaging winds. We're all going to be under the gun, that 30% zone where you have the potential for tropical storm near hurricane force wind gusts that extends past east of 65. So that corresponds with enhanced risk. And hail, not going to be as big a factor, but if you live I-65 west, pay attention. I don't think hail is going to be as much of an issue, partly because we're going to lose daytime heating when the storms move in, and that's going to even out the temperature spread from the surface to the higher levels of the atmosphere. So you need that contrast to get hail to really be a player. But we'll have plenty of shear, and there's other severe weather parameters that have increased the last couple days. Before I leave this page, I just want to say this. On Thursday, I posted a lengthy well, I shared a post. It was quite long. If you go to my Flash Weather page on Facebook, you can't miss it. I talked about why I didn't agree with the enhanced risk call at day 3. And then yesterday, at day 2, they downgraded our enhanced risk to a marginal risk. So they went from 3 to 1 in just, 6 hours or so. Then late yesterday, they upgraded back to slight, where enhanced risk was knocking on the zone. Where you see the moderate risk, that was an enhanced risk yesterday afternoon. And now we're back to enhanced. We're back to where we started. So the progression has been out of 5, 3, 2, 1. Or 3, 1, 2, 3. 3, 1, 2, 3. That's the order. So it's just there hasn't been a lot of consistency. I'm not saying the enhanced risk won't verify. I still have skepticism, and so trying to look at this objectively. But there's going to be some subjective analysis in the back end. So, but that's just what SPC is saying. I'm not saying that would be my call, but I'm saying that's just we have to pay attention based on this alone. Whether I agree with it, my phone's going to be charged, my apps are going to be running, and let's go over to Pivot Weather real quick. CAPE measures the instability. It measures the effortlessness of an air particle's ability to rise to the atmosphere and help create these supercell, discrete cellular severe storms. Any type of severe weather, even just a straight line QLCS. CAPE is a good, helpful tool, and you can see some decent amounts. We got some blue, which is I think when you get to these blue over 1,000. This is one of the severe weather criteria that's changed a lot in the last 24, 48 hours, where there was just this gray, just different shades of gray. Now we got some blue. We got 4-digit CAPE values, and I'm having a hard time updating my Pivotal Weather for some reason. But just know that you can see the effects of the daytime heating. The CAPE really fizzles out, and it's not nearly as strong. We're talking about between 400, 500, 600, which you can use. This is a February threat, so we could take that. Usually in February, you get higher shear values, bulk shear values. Sometimes you get better helicity values, and also the screaming jet overhead. It can be more intense. We are in many ways still an El Nino pattern. So if you look at El Nino early springs, late winters, this is not unusual to see. But we'll look at storm relative helicity. These criteria that we're going to look at kind of measure spin, rotation, and the vertical shear from the lower levels up to the higher levels. Shear today, these levels are pretty high. If storms could fire up, which is usually the main issue when you talk about February threat, these storms could fire up and then the shear kicks in. Shear alone can't initiate or create a thunderstorm. There has to be certain parameters in play first before you get your shear and helicity start to take over. And that seems to be a common thread for us around here. And normally it's just we have a hard time, at least recent climate, we've had a hard time getting the storms to fire up for this year and helicity to kick in. We look at the energy helicity index. You can see, again, these correspond greatly that these are really strong numbers. Just south, but again, south of 40. That's the theme we're seeing here. It's if you live south of 40 and west of 65, you're going to be more under the gun than anyone else. It doesn't mean that areas north of 40 and east of 65 are in the clear, but you can see that the moderate risk, I agree with the placement of the moderate risk. And same thing with the supercell composite. It's not zero. These numbers up here by, land between the lakes over into my county, Dixon, over to Nashville, it's not zero. You got to pay attention. But these are very high numbers. And I think that because of our proximity to these high numbers, that's probably why SPC has, upgraded the risk. Just any shift today in these parameters, just by 20, 30 miles can make a big difference getting to more populated areas in Middle Tennessee. So we got to respect the threat today. You almost have to just understand what I said 2 days ago. That was based on the data from that day, and data can change. Models can change. They could suddenly see something that they weren't seeing before, and day one is just a very different animal than day three. So now my concerns are still valid. We're still going to lose daytime heating, dew point recovery for those who have been in cooler air. Again, that pertains to the location. Are you north or south of I-40, and are you west east of 65? But the Cape, that third concern that I had on Thursday, that's no longer a concern for me. So we're really dealing with just two concerns, not three. So that alone is enough. This is a cool feature. The updraft helicity. This is kind of indicative of probably related to Cape, but yeah, we got some. There's the potential for some tornadoes. If they could form down here and they could track, they could stay on the ground for a decent amount of time. That is a concern. Now, HRR, I will say, it's a short-term resolution model. It's a little strong. I think that it's maybe a bit overdone and overemphasizing the threat today. So tailor it back a little bit, but still, even if you take a lot of these values, but 50, 60%, still a big deal. So I don't have time, unfortunately, to dive into the others, but HRR is just one example. There's RAP. You can check out the different kilometer NAMs, and the NAM has also WRF and different short-term models you can check out, whether you go to tropicaltidbits.com, pepperweather.com. But for most of you watching this, just stay tuned to your NOAA local weather authorities, and we'll get through this. So I apologize in advance. I got a lot going on today, and we helping a friend move, got some car repair issues to get to, and just a lot going on today. And this severe weather is not happening at a good time. But if I could do updates on the go from my phone, I will. I just wanted to cut this while I still had a window of opportunities. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you on the fry as always. Have a great weekend. Peace.